What is going on, traders? In this video, we're going to entertain the idea of a Santa rally. And if we do get a Santa rally, where can we go? Before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So right now we are looking at the SPY. In my last few videos, I told you guys that the SPY is breaking below this rising wedge, but it's not yet convincing until we get below 602. We get below 602, we're heading to 600. After that, you're looking at 598. Now, a lot of traders had a problem with me saying a drop is coming. But when you look at it, 604 to 598 is not a massive drop, guys. I don't understand. Okay. That drop is not a massive move. Again, until we break below 602, this drop or this breakdown is not yet convincing. We look at the daily time frame, and as you guys can see, this is another reason why this break is not yet convincing, because on the daily time frame, we're still showing that we are within the rising wedge. So what we want to see, if we're bearish, right? If you are bearish and you're looking for a drop in the market, you want to see these guys get stopped out of position at around 602. You break below 602, 600, 598. Not a crazy move, okay? Not an insane move to panic over in regards to downside if we're talking about a drop here. Now, if we just so happen to bounce from here, or this is a fake out, or bears get trapped here, then I will look at a move back towards previous highs at around that 608.5 target, 608.5, 608.6. And then possibly at that point, I do think we're going to break higher and look at that move. And we talked about these targets before, 610, between 610 and 614. If we just so happen to reject here, and there is a chance that we head towards those targets, okay? Again, I'm not counting on this to happen this week. I do think the Sandler rally historically happens after Christmas. But we do have rate cut news this week, so maybe that motivates this move. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it motivates a breakdown. We'll see. So these are the levels you want to look out for. 602. You want to pay attention to that. If you're bearish, you want to see 598 get absolutely decimated. You want to see this level get destroyed. I think it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And what I mean by anytime soon, I think it can potentially happen sometime in January. That's majority of when major put options are coming into the options chain. So I do think if we hold 598, there is hope for bulls to head towards previous highs or even higher. If we just so happen to get a false breakdown right here, then we can potentially just head towards previous highs from here and then even head higher towards 610, 612, 614 targets. So that is what I'm looking at for the SPY. All right, triple Qs. And so the triple Qs, we said this before, the triple Qs is above its rising wedge, or at least above the much smaller rising wedge. So there is potential for the triple Qs to head towards 534, 538, as long as it stays above this. Now, if it breaks below 527, or not even but 527, you get a move to 525 cycle level. You break below 525, that is when things get very domestic and the market starts doing domestic violence across the board. All right. So simultaneously, you want to see SPY give up 598, and you want to see the triple Qs give up 525. If those two things happen at once, things get very ugly across the board. So we look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ. We go to the daily time frame on the NASDAQ here, right? There's still potential for a move to 22,000. I talked about this level before. I gave you guys 21,800. I said that is one of my targets when I was bullish on the market. No one seems to talk about that, but that's fine. We break above 21,800. There's a good chance we're heading towards 22K. So we get a closer view. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame because we'll get a much better view there. And so in regards to 22K, we want to break above these guys right here. You want to get above these guys right here, then there's a good chance you're heading towards 21,900, which is our previous highs, and then you get above these previous highs, which is these guys right here, then you're heading towards 22,000. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for the NQ if we're talking about a Santa rally. Now, in regards to downside here, 21,600. If you break below 21,600, it gets pretty ugly, but you really, really want to see 21,000. You'll probably see a move towards 21,500 cycle level. Then after that, you look at a move towards 21,350, which is these guys right here. So let's actually map this out so it's a better idea on what we're looking at here. These guys right here, you want to see these guys get broken down if you are looking to be bearish, and then from there, that's when things get really, really ugly. Okay, that's what I'm looking at for the NQ. 22K upside, and then for downside, you want to see 21,600 get broken in. ES. We talk about this level all the time. ES is currently below its rising wedge pattern, but once again, look where we are. 6,050. You want to see 6,050 hold from there. You really want to see, and I imagine 6,040 is like 598 for the SPY. I could be wrong there, but regardless, 6,040 is what you really want to see hold. These guys right here. You want to stop these guys out of their position if you're looking to be bearish. Otherwise, this could lead into a false breakdown, and then we start recovering back towards the upside. And what you want to see is us roll back into this rising wedge pattern and start heading back towards the upside. And you can head as high as about 6,150. The highest I'm looking at between now and maybe early next year is about 6,200. Again, I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's very much possible right now. But if we give up 6,040, that's when things get really bad for the market, or at least for the SPY. So we'll see. Okay. That's what I'm looking at for the SPY. If you're talking about a Santa rally, I would say we can go as high as about 6,200. That's just my thoughts. Do what you want with that information. And so Bitcoin is going absolutely insane. We talked about this. I told you guys, if Bitcoin gets above 102K, there is a good chance you're heading towards 108,000. Highest I'm looking at least short term, is 110,000. And I imagine it's reacting to the MSTR news. That's what we're probably looking at. So 110K, highest, and I mean absolute highest I'm looking at for Bitcoin is between 115, 120K. But short term, we're looking at 108K, 105K cycle level if you want to be humble, 108, and then 110. So we have our inverse head and shoulders pattern on the 4-hour time frame. Shoulder here, head here, another shoulder here. You're breaking the neckline here at around 103,000, 103,700. So things are looking good. Bitcoin is going absolutely insane. That is really good for one of our trades. We are currently in the IBIT ETF. We decided to trade it prior to the MSTR news, and so things are looking really good for that play. We jumped into 75 calls February 21st, I believe. So yeah, um, it's looking like we're going to get a nice little gap up. We can actually look at IBIT real quick, but yeah, looking like we're going to get a nice gap up if Bitcoin continues here. We jumped in at around 57.5 here, but as you guys can see, I mean, you're looking here, and again, I mean, you have an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Shoulder here, head here, another shoulder here. You're currently at the neckline. It closed a little bit above the neckline and kind of mounted here. Not a convincing break, but considering where Bitcoin is, if this thing decides to follow Bitcoin, we're looking at a massive bag at open. So if you want access to these plays, again, Discord link is in the description below, guys. I mean, it's going to be a crazy year, crazy way to end our year. So again, we're going back to Bitcoin. Jesus, this thing's going crazy. 104,600 so far, breaking the neckline on our inverse head and shoulders pattern. Set this multiple times. This thing stays above 102K. You are going to Jupiter. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is looking amazing. If it rejects here for whatever reason, you want to watch out for 100K, and then chances are you're heading towards 97,500. Things are looking good for Bitcoin, and things are looking even better for Discord members with that play. We're looking at a massive gap up here. I mean, this is going to be crazy. Stocks seem to be moving after hours. It's kind of weird seeing that. But let's get into some stocks that a lot of you requested in either the Discord or YouTube comments. So first stock, someone just keeps asking about Marvell. So we're gonna get into Marvell. Okay, we're gonna talk about Marvell. So I talked about this in the Discord with you. We talked about 120. It gave up 100. Well, it didn't give up. That's the wrong word. But it broke above 120. And so not looking too good. So I think Marvell is going to head towards 130. We look at unusual wells here. As you guys can see, you're looking at 130 calls for January 17th. Now, the bid is higher than the ask, so I wouldn't pay attention to this. But then when you go down further, you see February 21st, 130 calls, 3.5 million premium, and then you have a 4,000 ask over a 1,000 bid. 130 calls for March as well, March 21st, 4.68 million premium, and then you have a 3,000 ask over a 1,000 bid. And so we can go to quant data. Link will be in the description below if you want access to this information. So you go to quant data, and we can just type these contracts in and see if exchanges or institutions are actually trading Marvell. And it's going to take a while. It's a lot to load here, as you guys can see. But regardless, when you're looking at quant data, the main thing you want to see, and the main thing I use it for, someone asked how I use it in regards to unusual whales. All I do is just use it for confirmation, guys. That's all I use it for. So you type in Marvell, and what I'm doing is I'm checking to see if whales are actually behind that contract or those contracts that we just looked at. So then we put in the expiration date for February 21st, which was one of the first days that we type in that 130 strike point. Okay. All right. And so boom, there you go. So then we just pretty much load it up and there you go. I don't think this is the right date. So let me look at December 13th. I think I put in the wrong date. There we go. Yeah, so here we go. Here we go. Um, so all we're doing is checking to see if exchanges are actually trading those contracts and how deep they are in those contracts, right? Because what you want to do, you want to follow the institutions. You do not want to trade against them. So this is not looking too convincing here. So let's go to the next spike here, see if there's something there. So you want to follow what the whales do. You don't want to trade against them. If you are following a Discord host or a YouTuber or whatever the case may be, they're not using the options chain. I highly recommend you stop following. That's just my opinion. Do what you want with that. But as you guys can see, these exchanges are trading these current contracts on Marvell. Just 130 calls for February 21st on Marvell, and as you guys can see, the premiums are juiced. You're trading at the ask here. You have a 130 strike point, so things in very bullish sentiment. I mean, this is looking really insane. So let's check this next spike here. Make sure everything is lining up. All right. So another one here. I mean, it's just looking really good. Okay. So we're looking pretty good here. I don't have much to say. I know you guys can't see the exchanges, but they are there. But regards to Marvell, I will look for a move towards 130. Now, what motivates this move? It can just be market in itself. Very much possible. Or it can just be whatever. I don't know. So we can actually just scroll over. I don't know why I just didn't think of that. But right here, so you see the premiums right here. You see the sentiment is bullish, and then you see the exchanges here. So yeah, I could have just scrolled over. Anyway, so yeah, Marvell looking really, really bullish right now. As long as it stays above 120, I would say Marvell can head much higher. And right now, it looks like exchanges, institutions, whatever you want to call them, are looking at 130 strike. So next, we're going to look at MU. MU has earnings coming up. We are looking to trade MU in the Discord. And so what's interesting about MU here, yeah, quant data just slowed everything down. So what's interesting about MU in our Discord, our bot alerted a 92.5 strike price. Okay. And what I mean by that is 92.5 puts. Okay. So whales are looking at puts. And I'm not saying it's for earnings, but it is something to pay attention to. So if MU decides to bounce from here, and we're looking at a bullish market come Monday, come tomorrow, and we're looking at a bullish move heading into maybe rate cut news, whatever the case may be, we can be looking at a move towards 110 before we see some type of sell off for earnings. Again, earnings is 50-50. It's a complete gamble, but just want to show you guys the contracts here and what the bot alerted of. This is an Adobe play. Made $6,000 off that. We played we won 5 out of 6 earnings last week. It was absolutely insane. You can look at Adobe and you can see just how massive that drop was on Adobe. And yeah, so Discord members made a bag off that. Nice little $6,000 came my way on that play. So absolutely beautiful play. But we were crushing it last week for earnings. But here it is, 92.5 puts for January 17th for MU. I don't know if this is going to be an earnings play or whatever the case may be, but I will say this: if MU pumps prior to its earnings, I would most likely play this. That's just me. Again, earnings is 50-50. It's a complete gamble. Do what you want with this information, but I would definitely be looking to play this. And so we can put this play into quant data real quick, and then we'll start moving along real fast. And so we look up MU. Actually, we're not going to do that. We're just not going to do that. Okay. You can look up yourself. The link will be in the description below. But yeah, MU, I would definitely look for a potential move back towards the 200 daily SMA, a retest at around 110, potentially if we get a bullish move to the upside. And then if this happens prior to earnings, I might be looking at puts at that point. What's ironic and what's very convenient in regards to that 92.5 strike and puts is that you're looking at a gap all the way at the $90 range. So something to pay attention to. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for AVGO. Someone asked about AVGO. I think AVGO has the potential to head towards the 230s, and then at some point in time, AVGO needs to retest this area down here at 188. Okay, so I do think, again, I do think a sell-off is going to happen, guys. Okay, hate it or love it, there are plenty of signs across the market and options chain that a sell-off is going to happen between now and January. Okay, you want that information. All right, so AVGO, I do think it has the potential to head towards the 230s, and then we'll have to see what happens from there. But at some point in time, definitely will need to retest this area right here, and I personally think this will be a great buying opportunity if we do get that retest here. Next up is SMCI. Someone corrected me in the YouTube comments, and I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind being wrong. It's not that deep for me to be wrong every once in a while. Okay. I'm not looking to be perfect. Okay. So someone corrected me and they were very respectful about it. So I do appreciate that. I tell you guys all the time, if you're going to correct me, if you're going to disagree, just keep it respectful. Like, how hard is that? Okay. But regardless, SMCI, someone said that it didn't get delisted. It got replaced from the NASDAQ 100. I didn't check to see if I did fact check that. So feel free to check for yourself. But you guys can argue it out in the comments if you want. I don't know. But regardless, SMCI gave up 36, so your next target was 33.5. It gives up 33.5, then you're heading towards the low 30s. Lowest you're looking at in regards to SMCI is about 25. Okay, 25. Now, we are looking at an inverse head and shoulders pattern here. If SMCI just so happens to regain that 36, I would say 36.5, it regains this area here. So let's actually map this out real quick. If SMCI reclaims this area, then there's very much potential for us to head towards high fit. I mean not high 40s. Okay, and then even more potential for us to retest the 200 daily SMA. As you guys can see, we gapped down, right? We gapped down, and we just pretty much left this 200 daily SMA. So something to look out for SMCI. You have an inverse head and shoulders pattern here. The right shoulder kind of got invalidated, but I don't really believe it got really invalidated, but you can say it got invalidated if you want since it gave up 36. But if we see it bounce from here, if we see some type of reclaim here, you're looking at the neckline at around that $50 mark, which is right about here. So right here, you're looking at a break, pretty sloppy. I mean, you keep seeing bulls trying to break higher and bears just stepped in over and over. We break above this neckline, you are heading to the moon on SMCI. Definitely going to be looking to trade the upside if that just so happens to happen. All right, just so happens to happen. All right. So anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm looking at in regards to SMCI. Next stock up is NVIDIA. All right, so Nvidia is it's not looking bad. It's not looking good. It's just looking kind of neutral here. All right, so as long as Nvidia holds this area here, so we're looking at the 130 area. We break this neckline on this head and shoulders pattern. It can get very, very domestic. Domestic violence everywhere. People are getting hit left and right. It's going to be crazy. Okay, so 130, you want to see that hold. If you don't hold 130, you're heading towards the 120 gap fill at 119 range, 119, 120 range. Otherwise, if we just so happen to bounce from here, you want to see NVIDIA reclaim 136, and then from there, potentially head towards 140, 142, and then highest you're looking at on NVIDIA is 160 if we're talking about a Santa rally Apple. I don't have much for Apple, not gonna lie to you guys. Apple just isn't doing much of anything. It's stuck between 244 and 250 right now. So until it breaks either side, I just don't have much for it. I definitely think Apple can head towards the 260s. It's just a matter of it breaking above this area here. You can say 251 if you want to be safe. But beautiful buying opportunity, in my opinion, in regards to Apple, is these guys right here. Let's actually, I said this multiple times. I mean multiple times, guys. If you just so happen to break higher, I mean, not break higher. If you just so happen to get a breakdown and retest 237.5, 236 range, right here, you see it, rejection, rejection. I would really love for this to happen. That would be a beautiful buying opportunity, in my opinion. Do what you want with that information. And so next, we're going to look at the Dow Jones real quick. I know it's kind of backwards, but we're going to look at it anyway. Dow Jones is not looking too good. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's just not looking good. It broke below its rising wedge. Probably one of the first to really break down and be a convincing breakdown. It broke below its rising wedge. There is potential for a retest at 450, and then after that retest, you're heading back towards the 430. So I would definitely pay attention to the Dow Jones DIA ETF, something to really pay attention to. IWM, the Russell. And so, congratulations to Discord members who are trading this. We talked about this plenty of times. The Russell has just been slowly breaking down. It broke below its rising wedge pattern. So, you're seeing signs that a sell off is in the future. You're seeing the Dow Jones break below its pattern. You're seeing the Russell break below its pattern. And all we're waiting for is the NQ to follow along. So, Something to pay attention to here. But regardless, Russell's not looking too good. You want to see it reclaim 235 if you want to talk about upside, and then from there, you're looking at a move towards that 238 level, 237.5, somewhere around there. But if we do get a sell off, which I think is going to happen sometime in the near future, you're looking at a move towards 224 on the Russell. That's what I'm looking at. So 230, you want to see 230 break down, and then from there, I do think you're going to see that gap fill all the way at 224 happen. Right about here, you can look at the options chain and you can just see that whales are just loading up hoods left and right in regards to the Russell. So with the rate cut news coming in, it can very much save the Russell, and the Russell just goes ballistic. It can very much crush the Russell. We'll have to see. But regardless, Russell's not looking great. I will say that much. So that's what I'm looking at in regards to the Russell. And so last but not least, I guess we'll knock out the semiconductor ETFs real quick. SMH. So SMH daily time frame, you see here 200 daily SMA. I've said this before. It continues to respect the 200 daily SMA. Respect it here. Respect. 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 All right. And we zoom out. You guys see back here. This thing just loves to respect the 200 daily SMA. You respected it here, and then obviously you broke below it in the past. That's it happens. It's not perfection, but majority of the time, majority of cases, you see the SMH really respect that 200 daily SMA. So what I would like to see for the SMH to do is to roll back into this rising wedge pattern, break above at least 240, 254, and then chances are we're heading close to 260s, and then we'll have to see what happens from there. What's very interesting is this gap that's all the way up here at the 270s. I don't know what's going to cause that. Maybe NVIDIA's next earnings, maybe Santa Rally. This is very much on the table, and ironic enough, this is at the top of this rising wedge. So if we roll back into this pattern, very much, very much potential to head towards 270s. We'll have to see. So something to look out for in regards to the SMH. SOXL is below its 200 daily SMA. So that's very interesting considering what we were just talking about with MU. MU falls under the SOXL. So if MU breaks down for its earnings, this could play out okay, towards about 24. Very interesting. So we roll back into this pattern, then we can head towards 35. But right now, retesting the bottom of the symmetrical triangle. Something to look out for, guys. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have for this video. If we do get a Santa rally, just pay attention to those targets I was talking about on SPY 610. You're looking at 610, 614 being the highest. Triple Qs, you're looking at about 534, 538, 540 being the highest, and so on and so forth. And then we talked about those stocks that we were just looking at. Other than that, that's all I have. Bitcoin just continues to go ballistic. I mean, I gave you guys 105, 105,000, and we're basically there. We're at 104,800 after hours. It's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow if Bitcoin continues to head higher. Other than that, that's all I have. If you agree, let me know in the comments below. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. Just keep it respectful as always. And until the next video, traders, what is